So I started getting involved in sound design because I've always been fascinated with music and the manipulation of sounds. So for example, at a young age I used to take pieces of music and pitch them down, reverse them and manipulate them in digital audio softwares, and it kind of just built from there really. So it was quite a surreal experience. I got a call from Devon's management team that he was going to be flying over to Manchester, and then he was going to come to the studio to do some final mixing on his album in 5.1. It was very interesting that that Devon chooses to mix in surround sound, so it was a really interesting session, and yeah, he was just a great guy, yeah. The weirdest sound I've ever been asked to create was actually the sound of an octopus coming out of a character's nostril. And the way I made the sound was by straining my voice to a very, very high-pitched level beyond like the kind of average speaking range, and really gripping the throat. And then I achieved the sound completely with the human voice, and the director loved it, so yeah. When you work in audio post-production, it is a very competitive field, but furthermore, the clients do expect quite a lot from you. So at a studio like 344 Audio, there can be some days where we'll work, 12 to 16 hours depending on the project and what the requirements are. And that's just really dependent on how tight the deadlines are and the complexity of the project really. So it is really important that you can be flexible for your clients. To be a sound designer, you have to have a high level of attention to detail. You really have to have a 50-50 split between creative and technical. You have to be able to operate a lot of different technologies, both hardware and software, microphones, recorders, but then at the same time you have to be able to speak in creative terms to your directors and your clients. So yeah, you really have to have that split of 50-50 creative and technical. My favourite piece of equipment is definitely the Zoom H6 handy recorder. And this recorder's been through all sorts of environments with me. It's been to rainforests, cold weather, hot weather, multiple countries. It's a very handy little piece of equipment to have around just to record multiple sound effects wherever you go. My least favourite sound is the sound that humans make other than speech, so things like tuts, lip smacks, heavy breaths, all of these, because these are the sounds that in post sound we have to remove in the dialogue editing process, so that's kind of trained my brain to avoid those sounds wherever possible. One of my favourite films for sound design would have to be Snatch. That's a really good example of sound design. Also, The Matrix is a really good example too. So on that film, Dane Davis, the sound designer, actually recorded lots of electricity sounds and then manipulated those with plugins and things like that to kind of create this sense of the Matrix and transitioning in and out of that.
He is the one.
Working remotely is great. It means that you can kind of just be in your own head and just stay completely focused on the film at hand and really get lost in the world of the film that you're working on. That being said, it is nice for the director to attend the final mix at least, so that you can really get into the specific details at that point in the process. Running a sound studio in the north has been great for me, mainly because we established the business through social media. So it's mostly through Facebook, emails, calls, things like that. So it means that we can work with people from all over the world, including London. And in fact, we've had the feedback from a lot of people that come in outside of London has been a great experience, because you don't have to deal with all of the kind of travel within London, all of the traffic, not having a place to park. And also the expensive prices if you just want to go out and grab some food and things like that. So it's been really good doing it from Manchester. The plans for the future to really expand the business. In the short to mid-term, it's to create more opportunities and jobs for local people who want to get into the creative industries, and specifically in sound, because many of these jobs are not available at the moment in Manchester and in the north specifically. It's mostly London centric. So that's the mid to short term goal. In the long term, the goal is to be the largest supplier of audio post-production in the UK, and the most respected as well. So eventually it will be at the point where people will, instead of working within London and places, you know, like Pinewood, where there's some really talented people, they will actually consider coming to Manchester specifically for this company and this service.